Hello, my name is Steve Lopez, and I'm starting a new series of videos on my YouTube channel called Stay Home, Eat Great. Because we're being asked to stay home, and it's best for everyone to stay home. Many times we may feel there's better options outside, but this recipe that I'm going to show you today, and I hope you love it, is my Fettuccine Alfredo with chicken. Now, before I start, just a warning, dads, husbands, boyfriends, this is the best recipe of Fettuccine Alfredo you'll ever taste. And so why don't you come over here where I am, and before we get started, I just want to talk a little bit about the ingredients I'm using. I have a stock pot here with some water I'm about to make the pasta in, a sauce pot here that I'm going to use for the sauce, the Alfredo sauce, okay? And then just a skillet here I'll be using for chicken. But I want to highlight first off what I'm using here. I have some chicken that we've cut up beforehand. This is all chicken breast. It's about 2 pounds of chicken that's already cut up into bite sizes. It's very important to cut them at equal sizes so that it cooks at the same amount of time. Okay, we're using Alfredo here. We're using fettuccine here. You're free to use linguine, which is a little thinner, if you so desire. I have a family of 5, and usually for my family of 5, we do about 1 pound to 1.5 pounds. I like having leftovers because this is good stuff. It's one of the very best. So we have our fettuccine here. I have Italian shredded Parmesan that I'm using here. The shredded, it's not the powdered one, it's not the pizza one. These are small strips or strings, if you will. I'm using salted sweet cream butter. I like salted, so I don't put that much salt. Use what you like. And on my seasonings here, I have some parsley. I'm using dried parsley. I have some garlic powder. I have some kosher salt, and I have some black pepper. For the sauce, I'm also using for the Alfredo sauce. I'm using heavy whipping cream, and so I'll be using extra light tasting olive oil and some extra virgin olive oil as well. So as we start off our water, I like putting in my water some extra virgin olive oil, which I'm going to put in now. Some extra virgin olive oil in here just so it doesn't stick. I do it like this every time. So we're putting maybe about 3 tablespoons in there. And then I always like salting the water. Always salt the water. So I always like using gloves just for poultry and any raw meats. So I put on a glove, and then I like touching the chicken by hand. So I'll put a little bit of this extra light tasting olive oil. I'm not sponsored by any of these products you see here at all. I'm just a guy that likes to cook food and a dad that likes feeding his wife and his kids some of the best there is. Okay, so here we go. Hot pan. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to put our chicken in so it starts cooking right away. We want the chicken, and I'm going to season our chicken here. You'll have to forgive me, it's my first time doing this on camera. So I was trying to preheat the pan, it was a little too hot. So, alright, if you come on over here, you'll see I'm seasoning the chicken. I like putting salt in there, and I like putting some black pepper and a little bit of garlic. So here we go. Some salt, some black pepper, and some garlic. I'm going to take advantage of this. It's already at a rolling boil. So we're going to get our pasta. We want to get our pasta going in there. Now the pasta will take about 8 minutes for it to be ready. Okay? I like putting it right in the middle. I'm going to do half of this one. I like doing 1.5 pounds. If you want to do all 2 pounds, you can. Sometimes I have these left over and I don't know what to do with them, but we'll be okay. So I'm going to put right around 1.5 pounds in here and let it get going already. So we're done with our pasta here, And we've already seasoned our water. Our water's going here. I like using this utensil here for cooking pasta. I get to push it in, and then when it's time to serve, it comes up nice and pretty. If you don't have one of these, it's indispensable when you're serving pasta, because if you don't have one, you're picking one up at a time. And I recently bought one of these for my brother-in-law in San Antonio, and I think he's happier having one. Garlic powder. This isn't garlic salt. If you put garlic salt, then you're adding more salt to what you're cooking. So here our chicken is going. How do you know when pasta is done? Your pasta is ready when it has a slight snap. You can pinch it. If it has that snap, you're good. If it won't break, or if it just turns into flour in your hand, it's not ready yet. And if you let it go a little too far, then it just starts falling apart, and you don't want that either. Very important here. Our chicken is about halfway done. Pasta is about halfway done. What that means is that we got to get on the sauce right away. The trick with this, the sauce is very, very good. It's very rich, very decadent, and that's because it's made from scratch. It's made fresh. So what we need to do first thing is once it's made, it has to be tossed and plated, within a reasonable amount of time. When I call people to come and eat, it's time to eat now, okay? Because this pasta has heavy cream, butter, Parmesan cheese, and all those things. Once they get room temperature, start to set, you don't want that kind of, in your mouth. But it's very, very delicious once it's hot. So I'm going to use a full stick of butter, and I'm going to go ahead and put it here in my saucepan so it can start melting. It's half melted already. The whole thing, okay? The saucepan is already warm, and so it'll start melting right away. What I'm gonna put in next is your heavy whipping cream, and lastly will be the Parmesan cheese. And then we put a little garnish on top just to give it that nice color. We put some parsley in there. I use dried parsley. Sometimes I use fresh, but dried is always in the house. So when it's time to cook and I don't feel like going to the store, I just use what I have here. Now, very careful, since you have this saucepan here going, don't let the butter scald. Don't let it burn, okay? Now, in order to get it melted, here you go, it's fully melted. And so here's our heavy cream. I was like giving it a little shake. I'll put about half. The combination of these two is how much sauce you're gonna have. Quick tip, I like leaving a little bit so that when you're reheating, maybe the next day, you have some of this and it gets very creamy again. So I'm doing about half, a little more than half, and I'm about right here available for reheat, for leftovers, okay? It's always good to have leftovers. So we're gonna put this back on here. I like putting a little bit the water from the pasta here, and it just makes the sauce a little creamier, okay? So put that right in, and that's all I need that for. Okay, now I want to salt the Alfredo sauce here a little bit. I want to put maybe about half a teaspoon of salt in my Alfredo sauce, and that'll give it a little more flavor once it comes right out of the gate, okay? Because as I said, I like serving it and it being ready to go, okay? You gotta be very careful depending on your stock pot. This one, the ears never get hot, ever. Now I'm using an electric stove here. If yours has a flame, chances are it's already the flames are coming this way, so yours may be hot. So very warning. So chicken is ready, pasta is ready. What I like to do in order to keep the whole thing warm while the sauce comes out, you never want your sauce to be ready before everything else. The sauce is last, okay? So the balance is keeping this hot while the sauce comes out, okay? So that's where we are. I'm gonna take my colander, bring it over to this side, And yeah, right where you are is good. I'm gonna take my colander here, and I'm just gonna bring all my pasta over here. I'm not gonna run any water through it. Let's turn this off, and I'm gonna bring the whole thing over here and just let the colander do the work. All right. This is a great time for a facial. Great time for a facial. All right. I put this here, and I just give this a little toss like this. The steam, it's nice. We're gonna put it back in here. As our chicken is ready, the chicken is, as I say, the chicken is already ready already. Just being funny. The next thing we're gonna use is a whisk. That's another one of your best friends when you're making sauces, especially creamy sauces. What I'm gonna do, this is nice and hot the way it was. I'm gonna bring the sauce over here, turn this one off. They're both off right now. But what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna bring my chicken, and I'm gonna put the whole thing in here. If there's a little bit of sauce in there, that's perfectly fine. You know, a little bit of broth. I can hear that sauce going over there. It sounds like a coffee maker. So anything, any extra, any little rent, all of this is all good stuff. So I'll put it all in here. And now we will wait for our sauce. So this is what it looks like from overhead. I got my pasta, that's all my pasta, and all my chicken. So the next things that are gonna happen here are gonna come rather quickly. I need you to see something real quick. This here, if you don't watch it, will overflow quickly. So once you see it starting to foam, you need to come in with your cheese already. I removed it from the heat just so you can see it. If I were to leave it there, as you can see, can you come in a little bit? As you can see, the foam is starting to go here, and if I leave it, it'll overflow. It's happened before, but it won't happen to you. So I'm gonna get my whisk. I'm gonna reduce my heat here. I get my whisk and I start putting in. This is 1.5 cups of Italian shredded Parmesan. So I'm gonna start bringing it in. As I'm whisking, it's already nice and hot, so you keep whisking, you don't stop, okay? You gotta keep going so that it keeps melting in there. So you can hear it now, it's starting to boil. It means the cheese, the butter, the heavy cream, salt, and that water from the pasta is coming together. Very, very creamy. This is your Alfredo sauce here, okay? This is your Alfredo sauce. I like going this way and seeing if there's any more of those bits of that cheese. If there isn't, then you are done. And I believe we are done. There's no bits of the cheese in there. Last I'm gonna use is the parsley. I'm gonna come in with the parsley and drop the whole thing. This goes right at the end. Turn off the heat, bring this in, and we're about ready to put this on our chicken. Here goes all the sauce. Can you see that? Can you see how thick and luxurious that is? We're putting all of that in there, and then with your whisk, take that little extra you have here. If you've come to my house and tasted this, you know what this is all about. And I encourage you to give me a thumbs up. I encourage you to follow, subscribe to my YouTube page. So I'm gonna get it this way. Nice and creamy, ready to eat. My kids are in the other room, but once I call them over, they are really, really going to enjoy this. So I'm gonna get some chicken. Chicken right on top. Can you see that? Can you see that sauce? If you make this for your wife, or if you make this for your husband, they will love you forever. So here is the plate. I'm gonna give it a quick taste, and we'll see what we got here.